Hello everyone and welcome back to Jus de Rose. Today's video is a Q&A. I cannot believe I haven't done a Q&A video before on this channel. I mean, it's been like 2.5 years. Really. I asked you to send me all of your questions over on YouTube and Instagram, and I'm gonna answer as many as I can today. So let's get straight into it. First question is, can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you were born, and how do you speak with an American accent and also pronouncing words in French? You cannot believe the amount of comments I've been receiving on YouTube for my pronunciation in French. Some people say I am faking it, other people saying that I'm French. I'm gonna give you all the lowdown here. So my background is the following. I was born in Geneva, Switzerland, in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, and I grew up between Singapore up until I was around 6.5, 7 years old, and then moved back to Switzerland up until the end of high school. So I learned English in school. I was in international schools, and that is where I learned English, but at home I was speaking French. So French is my mother tongue. I have both the Swiss passport and the French passport. So yes, that is my background. What languages do you speak? So I'm bilingual in French and English, and I speak a little bit of Spanish. I would say intermediate level. I understand better than I speak, so I would say 2.5 languages. Okay, this next one, there's a lot of questions, so I'll answer them in chunks. Favorite food and dessert. I love anything with chocolate. I'm a huge dessert fan. Anything sugary, sweet, I'm in love with. So chocolate and something that is quite creamy like coconut. Coffee or tea? Tea lover all the way. Favorite flower? This is tough. I have 3 flowers in mind that I love. Jasmine, lily, and frangipani. Do you have any pets? No, I don't. Have you ever been a model? No, I haven't. What does your husband do? So when it comes to my husband, I like to keep this part of my life private. I'm happy to share other aspects of my life, but when it comes to my personal life and private life, especially because my husband isn't a YouTuber or isn't on Instagram, that kind of thing, I'd rather keep that part of my life private. What are you passionate other than fragrance? I am a huge foodie. I love food, it is a passion. I'm more into sweet kind of stuff, but you know, if savory is done right, I will thoroughly enjoy it. It really is an experience. Like, there's a saying, you eat to live or you live to eat. I would say I live to eat. I love eating. Oh, just one of my biggest passions in life. At what point in life did you realize you were in love with fragrances, and which fragrance triggered that passion? I don't think there's a particular perfume that triggered that passion. I always grew up with fragrances. I used to have fragrances as long as I can remember. Maybe when I was 10 years old, I had like the Burberry baby perfume or something like that. I got it as a gift for Christmas. But yeah, I've always grown up with fragrances. My grandfather and my mother are obsessed with perfume. My family doesn't have any ties when it comes to the perfume industry. They just genuinely love fragrance. So I would say, yeah, my mom has always been there, very much present when it comes to perfumes. She's always like making me smell things, roses, herbs, whatever it may be, her perfumes as well. So I think she kind of transferred that passion to me as well. Where do you buy your clothes? They're so classy and chic. Well, since I spend all my money on fragrances, I need to be a little bit more mindful about my clothes. So I usually go and buy my clothes at Zara, Mango, or River Island. What kind of music do you like? You're my fave reviewer, keep it up. Thank you so much, that's really nice of you to say. When it comes to my music, I am a very big electro fan. And I mean deep house, minimal. That is my jam. In fact, I'm gonna show you. These are some of the songs that I'm obsessed with at the moment. I hope I don't get a copyright claim for this. So I'll just show you like little snippets. That is one of them. It's by Rufus Del Sol. I'll put the music in the description box. I used to be a huge party girl, love raves. So yeah, still love the music. Not so much the raves, but the music, still a fan. Another one that I like. And then another one, big fan. So yeah, this is the kind of music that I'm obsessed with. I find that music works better than coffee on me. Not that I drink a lot of coffee, I only do it in drastic situations. But say I'm feeling really tired, music is the best way to like lift my mood and boost me. How did you meet your partner? My husband and I met 11 years ago at university when we were studying there in Canada. Next question, I would love to know who your favorite perfumers are. Excellent question. I have 3 perfumers that I'm obsessed with. The first one is Mathilde Bijoy. I hope I'm saying her last name correctly. I feel like I butchered it a little bit. But she is the nose behind Gris Charnel, behind Jasmine Sambac and Marigold. So 2 of my like top fragrances in my collection. And she also created all of the English Fields collection from Jo Malone. If you watched my fragrance collection video, you know how much I love that collection. Unfortunately, it was limited edition, but all of the fragrances are fantastic from English Fields, and Mathilde created those scents. Next is Marie Salamagne. She is the perfumer behind all the fragrances from Atelier des Ors. I mean, surprise, surprise, why Atelier des Ors is one of my favorite brands, because all the perfumes are created by Marie Salamagne. She's also created Black Opium, Ruby Rouge, and By the Fireplace. A lot of these fragrances that I love, minus Black Opium, and is a force to be reckoned with in the perfume industry. And finally, we have Quentin Biche. I feel like he's having really a moment these days. Everyone is talking about this perfumer, and for good reason. He's amazing. He's created so many fragrances that I love. Fleur Narcotique by Ex Nihilo, 1 Million Parfums, Le Mal Le Parfum, as well as all of the Delinas from Parfums de Marly. I mean, the list goes on. He is a genius. And yeah, so that was my 3 favorite perfumers. By far, the most common questions had to do with my career. So what do I do now for work? What did I do in the past in the perfume industry, and like kind of what is my background within perfumery? So I'll start off with the first question, which is what did you study in school and what do you do as a job today? So I have a bachelor's degree in science in human biology and physiology, and I also have a master's degree in perfumery, as well as master's in business management. It's a joint master's. And today I work full-time as a content creator for fragrances. So my main platform is YouTube, so I create YouTube videos around fragrances, but I'm also present on Instagram and on TikTok. How and why did you choose to become involved with perfume? Did you work in the industry before creating your YouTube channel? So let's rewind a little. So I studied sciences in university when I was living in Toronto, Canada. I loved what I studied. I thought I was gonna work in an R&D lab, like that was my jam, until I did an internship in an R&D lab, and that was not for me. So my little scientific route kind of ended there, and another passion of mine, which was always there, was fragrance. And I found my master's degree that enabled me to discover many different facets of the industry. So it was a perfect step into the industry. So I did my master's, and then naturally the progression was to work within the fragrance industry. And the answer to your question as to whether I was working in the industry prior to starting my YouTube channel is yes. I have been working in the fragrance industry for 7 years, and I started my YouTube channel almost 2.5 years ago whilst I was working at the same time. And I received a lot of questions in terms of what the nature of my job was within the perfume industry. So I worked as a brand manager for a designer fragrance brand, and I'm based here in the UK. So what does that mean? That means that I was responsible for all of the marketing activities, which included launching new fragrances onto the UK market. So that meant working with a variety of teams, so visual merchandising, commercial, PR, digital, e-com, to really bring a launch to life, both in-store and online. What's your this is it moment to decide full-time on YouTube as a career? I love the way you describe, present, and edit your video. Much success to you. Thank you so much. That's very nice of you to say. Really, the this is it moment was a couple of months ago where, frankly, it was tough to do YouTube and my full-time job at the same time. My full-time job was very demanding, and any spare time that I had, I would spend it on YouTube. So that meant waking up at 4:30 in the morning to edit my videos, and after finishing work, I would go straight back to editing my videos or filming or whatever it may be, all so that I could produce content for my YouTube channel. That meant that I didn't have much of a life. All my weekends I spent planning, filming, editing, whatever it may be. And so because my job was very demanding and I loved doing YouTube so much, it became a little bit frustrating because I couldn't dedicate the time that I wanted to YouTube. And also, if I'm completely honest, my day-to-day job wasn't something that I was passionate about. Whilst I really discovered a true passion for talking about fragrance online, for editing and all that stuff, and I was like, well, I may as well do what I love in life, and that's kind of why I decided to move. And it's only recent. It happened in November, so it's been a few months that I've been going at it full time. Okay, next question is similar to the previous one, but then says, can you tell us some of your challenges and difficult circumstances you had to face when you were making this decision? Was there ever a time you regretted it? So first off, no, I do not regret it. I'm so much happier doing what I'm doing today than what I was doing in my previous job. Do not regret it at all. The biggest challenge is facing uncertainty and not knowing what this is going to turn into, if it's going to work or not. I left my job, I had some savings, thankfully, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to make this work in some shape or form. So that uncertainty is a little bit stressful, and the fact that I'm all by myself now, so there's no one telling me what to do, and I'm learning as I go. I don't really know what I'm doing most of the time, so like I'm teaching myself all of these new skills, which I think is great. That's like very enriching, and I like to learn new things. That's something that really motivates me and inspires me, but it can be a little bit daunting if you're just by yourself. And I guess the last thing is that, you know, you're leaving a work environment where you're surrounded by colleagues, with people, to being by yourself. So that can be a little bit isolating at times, but honestly, I would never go back to an office environment unless it's my own office. I am very happy doing what I'm doing today. Another popular topic was perfumery school, and I have a full dedicated video to like answering questions around perfumery school. I will link that down below, but I'll answer a few quick ones now. What is your education? Where did you study? What is your best suggestion to start in the perfume industry? So when it comes to my perfume studies, I studied at ISIPCA, which is a school based in Versailles, a little bit outside of Paris, that is specialized in perfumery. So a lot of the noses today have been trained from ISIPCA, and it's like a stamp of approval, if you will, on a CV if you're looking to enter the perfume industry. That being said, it is much more important for fragrance manufacturers like Firmenich, IFF, Givaudan. These companies do value having ISIPCA on your CV. However, if you're going to like brands like L'Oreal, LVMH, all those kind of big corporations, they don't really care about it. What is your biggest suggestion to start in the perfume industry? Recommendations for integrating the perfume world. Network, network, network. It is so easy to network these days. You have LinkedIn, you have Instagram, you can reach out to brands, to the social team. It's so easy to connect with people these days. That is my number one tip, is network, because ultimately the people that will help you find jobs is people that you're going to meet through networking. And this is valid for all of the industries, not just perfumery. If you can have a perfume degree, that is great. The way that I got into the perfume industry is through internships. I did a year of internships before getting a full-time position. A year is a long time, especially when you studied for 6 years. That is a long time to do an internship and not being paid well, but it was worth it, and it helped me get my foot in the door. So network, internships if you can. Don't be afraid to start at the bottom, because that is unfortunately the easiest way. Unless you know someone within a company already, that is the best way that you can integrate the industry. Next question. I would like to take a perfumery course, nothing professional. Do you have any suggestions? Yes, I recommend you go onto the website Experimental Perfume Club. It is a company, I believe the woman who runs it was an ISIPCA alumni, and she is a perfumer as well, and she has online courses, and there's different durations of the courses. I haven't attended one, but in the workshops that she's done, and I know people who have done the workshops in person, they said that they learned a lot and it was great. So check out the website. I will put it also in the description box. The second most commonly asked question: are you going to do a perfume collab? When are you launching your own fragrance? Who are you going to work with? Okay. Here's my answer. I would love to do a perfume collaboration. This is something that is hopefully going to be in the works in the next year or so. As for the brand, I guess you're gonna have to wait and see. I'm gonna wrap up this Q&A with some rapid fire perfume questions. First one is, how do you discover all these obscure brands? First, go online, go on Fragrantica, great perfume blog. Whenever there's new releases, I always look at the new fragrances. I'll have a look at the notes, and if I like it, this is something that I'll look into, and that's how I discover brands. I also am active on Instagram, and I'll have a look at some recommendations. I follow like hashtags such as niche fragrance, Insta perfume, and you can discover lots of cool new fragrances and brands through there. Another way is that I know which department stores have niche perfumes. So based in the UK, if you're based in the UK, I would recommend Selfridges, great, cool and upcoming brands there. Harvey Nichols, Harrods, Liberty. Liberty is more on the niche side, so you won't necessarily find brands like in Harrods or Selfridges in Liberty, which is really cool. And if you want something that's even more specialized, Jovois is another great place to start. It's more like high-end luxury fragrances. And then Bloom Perfumery for like your hardcore niche fans. So these fragrances, not necessarily wearable for an everyday basis, but there's a lot of interesting brands in there and a selection that you won't find anywhere else. Your wish lists at the moment. I have 2 Celine fragrances, Parade and Black Tie. Parade is like more on the fresher side, and Black Tie is like a sexy vanilla scent. And also the Bewitching Yasmin by Penhaligon's. What's your top 3 summer fragrances for men? Riviera Lazuli by Atelier des Ors, Bohemian Lime by Goldfield & Banks, and Oud Bleu Intense by Fragrance du Bois. Best clean musk fragrance for women. Definitely Pure Musc for Her by Narciso Rodriguez. This is the Eau de Parfum Absolute. It is musky, clean, with a touch of floral. Beautiful, chef's kiss. Can you recommend any good gym scents for men? Yes, Molecule O2 by Centric Molecules, Chrome by Azzaro, and Juniper Sling by Penhaligon's. Do you prefer Delina or Delina Exclusive? Delina all the way. What are your top vanilla fragrance recommendations? Material by Amouage. If you can afford to splurge, definitely Vanilla Barca. This is like the new Attar oil. It smells amazing and is really intoxicating. Angélique Noire by Guerlain and Bois Doré by Van Cleef & Arpels. Do you recommend Pacific Rock Moss or Still Life in Rio for hot, dry climate? Still Life in Rio all the way. Niche houses worth the money. Atelier des Ors, Diptyque, Matière Première, Ex Nihilo, Penhaligon's, Kilian, amongst others. Is there any fragrance note that you hate? Yes, I hate animalistic notes, particularly Castoreum. It just smells revolting to me. What are your top guilty pleasure men's fragrances? Ultra Male by Jean-Paul Gaultier, Paco Rabanne 1 Million, and Armani Code Profumo by Armani. What are your top 3 favorite notes in perfume? Cardamom, sandalwood, and some form of creamy white floral, either jasmine or tuberose. Josephine, it would be great if you could give us some tips on how to create a small but sufficient perfume wardrobe. What number of perfumes do you think is enough, and what types of perfumes would you include in it? Love from Spain. I'm glad you asked this question because I filmed a video on this not long ago. I will link it down below for women, and my recommendation is to keep 5 perfumes. So if you want to know what those 5 are, then check out my video in the description box down below. If you had to choose one perfume for life as your signature scent, which one would it be and why? It's like asking who's your favorite child. Like, I don't know. This is not a question I can answer, sorry. What fragrance would you call the most irresistible and mind-boggling, intoxicating on a man? Niche or designer? I think there's a fantastic selection from the designer world, so I'm gonna recommend 2 because you can mix them. Bulgari Man in Black and Spice Bomb Extreme. You mix those 2 together, amazing. Intoxicating sex bomb. If you had to choose only one perfume, one male and one female that does a job for every occasion, what would it be? For men's, La Nuit de l'Homme by Yves Saint Laurent. For women's, Narciso Rodriguez. For her, the Eau de Toilette. Which perfume would you say is the most you fragrance at the moment? Definitely Honoré Delights by Ex Nihilo. It is fresh, floral, musky, a little bit sweet. It's divine. Hi Jus de Rose, hello. What is your absolute favorite fragrance on a man? If you could only choose one, what would it be? I'm gonna be so unoriginal and say La Nuit de l'Homme by Yves Saint Laurent. It just ticks all the boxes. Name 3 of the worst smelling designer fragrances. La Vie est Belle by Lancôme, Eros by Versace, and Dior Sauvage. And this is it for the Q&A. I think this is already long enough. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any more questions, you can pop them down below and perhaps I can do a part 2. Wishing you all a fantastic day, evening, whatever hour it may be. Thank you so much for all your support, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!